Hello, students. In today's lesson, we will need a string array with 6 elements. Let it be something simple, like fruits. Apple, pear, orange, pineapple, grape, and potato. Today, we will learn how to work with arrays. Properties and methods will help us work with arrays. Properties store various information about the array, and methods usually either modify it or return a new array. Let's gradually delve into it. Let's start with the length of the array. Sometimes, it is necessary to know how many elements are in the array. For example, if you continue adding fruits to the array, you might forget how many there are now. To compensate for memory lapses, the length property will help us storing the number of elements in the array. To find the length of the array, you can use the length channel on the array block. You can also use the array length block by connecting it to the array. As a result, we will get the number of elements. In the console, we see the number 6, and we know their indices from 0 to 5. From this, a useful observation follows: the last index of the array is always one less than the length of the array. This means that there is a simple way to get the last element of an array, regardless of its length. Take the array get block. Connect the index channel to the length of the array -1. The console will display the value potato. This is the value stored last in our list. Now, let's learn a new method of adding elements to an array, for example, using the array add block. It adds new elements to the end of the array. Connect it to the A key in started mode. Connect the array to the array channel, indicating the array to which we want to add an element. Connect the value channel to the value we want to add. For example, a new fruit, plum. Connect the entire array to the console output. Let's run the program. First, we'll display the original array in the console. Press space. We see a console output of an array with 6 elements. Now, press the A key, then space again. A 7th element appears at the end of the array. Using this block, you can add multiple elements at once. Let's add 2 more: peach and apricot. Now, in the console, you can see 9 elements. When calling the array add method, we not only add new elements to the end of the array, but this block also returns a new array. We can obtain it at the array output. If we connect this output to a print block, pressing the A key will add 3 new elements to the end of the array and display the new array with 9 elements in the console. In this chain, we can use all the properties of the array. Let's add another print block sequentially and connect the length of the new array to it. Now, when pressing the A key, it will output 2 lines in the console: the array itself and, in the next line, the length of the array. Now, let's talk about removing elements from the array. To remove the last element from the array, you can use the array pop block. This block performs 2 operations at once. It removes the last element from the array and returns that element as a value. For example, let's assign the P key for this action. Connect a print block to it, and then connect the returned value from the array pop block to the print block. Don't forget to connect the array to the input. First, press the space key to display the original array with 6 elements. Then press the P key. In the console, the value potato will appear. This means that the value potato has been removed from the array, and now our array has not 6, but 5 elements. You can verify this by pressing the space key. There is no more potato in the list. If we don't want to lose the removed array element, we can save it in a variable or in another array. The array add and array pop blocks complement each other well, as sometimes you need to work only with the end of the array. You can add an element to the end with the array add block and then retrieve it when needed with the array pop block. To remove the first element from the array and return its value, you can use the array shift block. It works similarly, but the element is taken from the beginning of the array. The rest of the array shifts to the left by one step. Let's assign the S key for this action. Connect a print block to it again. We will output to the console the element removed using the array shift block. In our array, the value, apple, is stored in the first element with index 0. By pressing the S key, we will remove this element, output it to the console, and shift all elements one step to the left. If we output the array to the console using the space key, we will see that the apple is no longer present and now the pear is in the first place. Now, briefly about combining arrays. Let's create two separate arrays, but make them more tangible. We need to string arrays with 3 elements each. The first one will contain apple, pear, and orange, while the second one is currently empty. Select the first block with the array, go to the Armory tab in the right panel, and click the New var from Node button. In the appearing window, name the variable fruits number 1. The block will change color. And in the variable list, we now have a variable. We can see its name and type. Below, we can also see a list of all the values stored in this variable. Now, let's do the same with the second array. Give it the name, fruits number 2. It currently has no values, but this can be fixed with the new button. Let's add 3 elements with the values, pineapple, grape, and potato. Now, let's add a third array. Let's name it all fruits. We will leave this array empty. Using the concat method, we will write both filled arrays with the names fruits number 1 and fruits number 2 into it. Add the array concat block. Connect the 2 arrays to it. The sequence matters. In the new array, the order of elements will depend on the order of connection. At the beginning of the new array, the elements of array number 1 will be placed, followed by the elements of array number 2. So, this block will merge the 2 arrays and return a new one. Now, let's save the resulting array in the variable all fruits. Add a setter. Power it with the C key. Connect the obtained array to the value channel. Now, let's organize the console output. Sequentially connect 3 print blocks to the space key. Connect the getters of all 3 arrays to all 3 print blocks. Let's run the program. The first press of the space key will output 3 lines to the console, 2 arrays with fruits, and 1 empty array. Now, press the C key and then press space again. The first 2 lines remain unchanged, and in the third line, we see the result of combining the first 2. Now, the all fruits array holds 6 values. Using the concat method, you can merge more than 2 arrays. To do this, simply add another concat block and connect the third one to the sum of the first 2. And if you need, add a 5th or a 28th. The concat method is convenient when you need to merge several arrays into one. For example, let's say you have a shopping list for a party, and your friend also has their own list. You decide to go to the store and buy all the necessary booze. It would be easier if you had not two lists, but one. Just concatenate your list with your friend's list using the concat method, and voila, you have one list for both. Now, let's learn how to get the index of a specific element in an array. For this, you need the array index block. Let's assemble another console output by pressing the I key. We will output the index of the element that contains the value orange to the console. Connect the array index block to array number 1 and the string orange. As a result, pressing the I key will output the value 2 to the console. This is the index of the third element in the array. It is this element that stores the value orange that we requested. If the requested element is not in the array, then the array index block will return -1. This nuance is convenient to use in conditions to react to the absence of the desired element. If the element appears in the array more than once, the block will return the index of the element closest to the beginning of the array. This is because the search starts from the first element, and as soon as the element is found, the search is terminated, regardless of whether such elements exist further down the list. If you copy the value orange and paste it into all three elements of the array, then the console will output the index 0. Another trick you can do with an array is to take all its elements and concatenate them into one large string. This can be done using the array display block. Let's add the D key. Connect it to the print block and output to the console array number 1 passed through the array display block. In the console, we will see a string with three elements of the array concatenated together. To make the result more visually appealing, you can separate the elements with a delimiter specified in the block. For example, if you use an underscore as a delimiter, all array elements will be separated by this symbol. Let's add two more print blocks and two more array display blocks. In the second one, we'll use a comma with a space as a delimiter, and in the third one, we'll use a space colon space. Now, in the console, we have three versions of the array with different delimiters. This approach is most convenient when you have an array that needs to be turned into a string. If we were concatenating array elements into one string using the concatenate string block, the scheme would look very cumbersome. And it would only work if the length of the array is known. If the number of elements changes, the scheme would also need to be modified. With the array display block, nothing needs to be changed. This method will concatenate all array elements into a string regardless of its length. If non-string values are stored in the array, they will be converted to strings before being concatenated. Well, that's enough for now. In the next lesson, we'll try to apply this knowledge in practice and solve a couple of real-life problems using arrays. See you soon.